Now we're going to take a look at some of the other color modes. To do so, we're going to open an image, go to File, Browse and Bridge, and select Green Bloom. When this opens, now we're going to go up to Image, Mode, and select Lab Color. And you'll see it over here in the Channels panel that we have our composite channel, a lightness channel, which shows us a beautiful black and white, channel A, and channel B. Alright, so the composite lab channel is a combination of all the other three channels. And essentially, lab mode separates the image's lightness values, so how bright or dark an image is, from its color information. So you have your color information in A channel and B channel, and then you have your lightness and darkness information in the lightness channel, hence the LAB. So the A channel contains a mixture of magenta and green, and magenta is the red colors in your image. And the B channel is a mixture of your yellow and blue. And this has got a lot of green in it, and so you'll see a lot more information here in the B channel. And then of course, the lightness channel is where you find the details for your image sans color. So no color information, just light and dark. And so this makes a really pretty black and white image usually. Now we're going to look at multi-channel mode. If you delete a channel out of one of your images, I'm going to delete the B channel, click yes, and then I'm going to go up here to image mode, and you're going to see that now my image is in multi-channel mode. It is no longer a lab color image. And that's because I've removed one of my channels. And you don't want to do that. You would like for it to say in RGB or CMYK or lab color. And so if you do accidentally delete a channel instead of just turning it off, then what you can do is you can just go up here to your history and you can step back one, or you can hit Command Z to undo if it was the last step you did, and it will bring it back that way as well. Now a single channel mode is what you find when they only have information color on one channel. Pretty simple. This includes bitmap images, grayscale images, duotone images, and index color mode images. Okay, you're not going to turn in the lab channel image. That's just so simple. Again, all you have to do to view that black and white is to turn off A and B, and you get that great lightness channel there. So you're not going to be turning any of that in. Let's talk about alpha channels right quick. Alpha channels are pretty important, and their purpose is to store selections. I covered that briefly earlier. And so when you have something stored on an alpha channel, a selection stored, then you can access it in the future. And it can save you a lot of time from having to go back and reselect things. Close that Properties panel. As you've realized by now, making selections can take a whole lot of time. And so when you've spent a lot of time making a selection, it's a good idea to try to save that selection, because you never know if you're going to need to use it again. And of course you'll save it as a PSD file just so that it's there and available for future use. Sometimes alpha channels are referred to as channel masks. So if you hear me say a channel mask, it's the same thing. Alpha channel and channel mask mean the same thing when you're reading through the book. Once again, same difference. and they allow you to make adjustments on just specific portions of your image. That makes sense. We've gone through masking, we've gone through selections. It's allowing you to individualize any changes that you want to make. So to create an alpha channel, what you first need to do is make a selection. And how you go about getting your selection is up to you. You've learned several different ways of doing selections at this point. And so how you go about getting your selection is your choice. Command D. If I do the quick selection tool, I'm going to want a little bit larger brush than that. There we go. Maybe even, there we are. And we can see I'm able to get fairly easily a decent selection. It's your choice again how you want to go about, and I'm not going to say one way is better or another way is better, because everybody kind of has their own way of doing things. But just going to make a basic selection of this green flower. Sometimes it's just easier to deselect the background and then add in the parts that you want. I'm going to take out this little bit right here, add in that, add in that. It's not going to be a perfect selection for time's sake here, but I do want it to look, to resemble the flower as much as possible. Alright, take out some, add some. Okay. So for demonstration purposes, we're going to pretend this is an amazing and beautiful selection that I've done on this flower. But it will suffice for creating the alpha channel. So once you have a selection made, you come down and you select what looks like the little mask button at the bottom, and that is to save selection as a channel. And what you see here is a black and white representation of your selection. And so you can always go back and get that selection without having to do all that hard work. That is extremely helpful. Once again, all I did was made a selection, and it doesn't really matter what layer you're on when you make the selection. I could have done it from here. I could have done it from the lightness layer, whichever, or lightness channel, whichever one you prefer. Just once a selection is made, click Save Selection as Channel. You see it show up right here as a black and white mask. Now, another way of doing that is going to deselect, and I am going to go back and convert this to an RGB image. We're going to create a new channel, so I'm going to click that, and you see the mask is completely black. And so when you do that, what Photoshop does is it creates an alpha channel named Alpha 1, sticks it at the bottom of all the channels, and then that one's black because it's empty. In order to create a selection, what you're going to need to do is turn on the composite channel's visibility in order to summon the red overlay of quick mask mode so you can see your image. So go to composite, there we go, and select the eye beside it. If I just click on the layer, didn't do me any good. So once again, I'm going to click the new channel, and then I'm going to click the eye out beside my composite layer, and you'll see the mask. Now, nothing is in this alpha channel. The quick mask mode, the only thing that's allowing me to do is see my image. Now, when I am in quick mask mode, all I'm going to do is paint in the area that I want to see. So I'm going to select a brush, make it as large or small as you want. I'm going to go kind of big at the beginning, get the middle of my flower done, and then I'll go small around the edges. Now, if I have black paint selected, look, nothing happens when I paint over. I'm going to hit X and go to white, and you'll see that I start showing part of my image through, and I'm actually creating that mask. Okay? I'll reduce the size of my brush, go in, and I can start painting around the edges here. And so that's how you can utilize the quick mask in the channels panel. And by doing this, you're actually creating your selection. We all know this is a horrible selection. Once I do something like this, what I would do is I would come back in with a nice soft brush, zoom in, and take care of my edges. Because as we learned about when we discussed and learned about making our selections, it's about getting in nice and close, getting the right size brush, and you don't want a hard edge brush for this, because see what happens? Every little mistake shows up. There's no forgiveness in a hard edge brush, let me tell you. So what you would want to do is use a nice soft edged brush. And this is going to be a whole lot simpler if you are using your graphics tablet. Grab a soft edged brush. And now you'll see how much nicer that edge looks than what that hard edge brush was doing for us. And so I would go around and I would take care of creating a nice clean selection using my soft edge brush, zoomed in. And I'm only at 66% here, so I'm not zoomed in just too close. Okay, but you can see a huge difference there from that horrible hard-edged brush over here. Alright, so we can see over here that I've got a selection made out of this alpha channel. Okay, the mask is showing it. It's a rough mask, but in order to load that alpha channel as a selection, what I'll need to do is the same thing you would do in a layer. To load that layer as a selection, Command or Control click on the thumbnail in that channel and it selects the area for you. And then you can go and actually go back to your layers and make whatever changes you want. Another way of doing it, Command D to deselect. So Command or Control click on the thumbnail to do your selection. You can also select Load Channel as a selection. I'm going to select my Alpha 1 channel and select Load Channel as selection at the bottom of the panel. And that puts our little marching ant selection around that mask in the alpha channel. Or if you don't want to click the button, you can just grab that alpha channel, drag it down, let go over load channel as a selection button, and it will do it that way as well. Alright, the same as creating alpha channels, you can delete the alpha channel. So you can right click on it, duplicate it, or delete it. Either way. You can also grab your channel and just drag it down to the trash can and delete it that way as well. Alright, you're not going to save any of that. That's all practice. Now, you're going to do something on your own. And what you're going to do is you're going to take two images and you're going to use one to replace the sky in the other.